Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I got some exciting things we want to talk about, and I want to thank community members for being here, neighbors, great folks from Lake City. I want to give some special recognition to Councilmember Rink and Juarez here. Thank you for being here. You can only you can't have more than 3 or 4 because you got a quorum, but thank you for being here. Deputy Mayor Tiffany Washington, Deputy Mayor Greg Wong, Director Markham McIntyre. We have HSD, Human Services Department, Sean Walsh and Michelle Caulfield from Office of Sustainability Environment. I want to thank you all for being here because we have a lot to talk about here in Lake City. I first want to ground this in a quote. Hunger is not an issue of charity. It's an issue of justice. And so when we talk about the quality of life at this very special part of the city, we talk about the recent announcement of Fred Meyer closure. We talk about some of the public safety challenges we have. Let's get it all out there and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we're going to do. Oh, I didn't see you here. Chief Amy Barton of our care department. I also should acknowledge you as well. I have to acknowledge that too many Seattle neighbors are struggling to afford access to one of the most basic needs, food, access to their medication. With this president of ours that we unfortunately have, when you look at his tariff policy, you look at what he's done to cause inflation, you look at his dangerous actions to cut food investments. You know, he's imposed the largest cut to SNAP benefits in our entire country's history, slashing billions of dollars in funding dedicated to what we're talking about today, addressing food insecurity. And so when we hear the recent announcement in Fred Meyer as an example, as your mayor and as our administration must do and should do, the question becomes, what can we do? What are we committed to do? And that's what we're going to go through today. We know the truth. The truth is that food is too expensive. We know that in too many cases it's inaccessible due to grocery closings and food deserts. And quite frankly, this work is very personal to me. I have friends of my wife here, and you know, my wife worked to address food deserts as the president of United Way of King County, and as mayor, I worked to update our city's food access plan for the first time in over a decade. So today I'm announcing some very concrete, specific steps that we're going to do, and I'll even talk about some ideas that we're still working on that I think you may find very interesting. So I'm announcing today the important steps through my budget proposal to make significant investments of $12 million toward food access. What does that look like? Well, we're working to ensure that more of our residents and neighbors have access to healthy and affordable foods. There's no single solution when we're addressing challenges like this. What you want to see is sort of a series of investments and a strategy to make sure that we recognize the significance of the problem. So number one of our cornerstone investments is the expansion of the Fresh Bucks program. Our proposal that I will propose to you all, the budget committee, the council, we will double the amount invested in the program with $6 million investment. Let's talk about what that does. Now, Fresh Bucks is a food program that many of you know that helps low-income residents afford fruits and vegetables through a monthly stipend. This is what we're going to do, and you're going to hear from Professor Melissa Knox after me. You're going to hear from her comprehensive analysis on the success of this particular program. So what this investment actually does is will expand the monthly stipend by 50%, up to $60 per month, and we currently have a waiting list of 4,000 people who want to participate in this program. This investment will take those people off the waiting list. We will go from 12,000 to 16,000 families who will participate in this program. Number two, I'm very happy to announce that my budget invests $300,000 over 3 years to extend the Lake City Farmers Market by an additional 15 weeks. People love farmers markets, not only because they get fresh, healthy food, not only they're supporting our community and our local growers, but you walk around and you build community. And so we will eventually transition to Saturdays from the current Thursday afternoon schedule, and we anticipate great success. Now, this does not solve issues created by Fred Meyer's closure. We recognize this, but this is a step toward increasing food access in this particular neighborhood. Food assistance benefits accounts for 10% of sales at the Lake City Farmers Market in 2024, so that's nearly double compared to nearby markets. Number 3, our proposed investments will add $4 million to support local food banks, provide home delivery, provide weekend food access for the kids, our youth, and support year-round prepared hot meal programs and youth summer meal access. I said that a little quickly, but let me break it down in simple terms. A lot of these kids on free and reduced lunch, that is their means to eat. What do they do on weekends or during the summer? So we recognize that deficiency in the system, and we will address that. So I'm starting in my description of what we're doing to look at those most vulnerable. That's why I started with Fresh Bucks, and now we're going to the kids. That will be a $4 million investment to address this issue. So our local food banks, our home delivery meals, and our youth will be recognized in our strategy. Number 4, this is where it even gets, we have to acknowledge the realities of what's happening in this city. We will dedicate $1 million toward addressing theft, shoplifting, property damage at our grocery stores. We'll look at the funding infrastructure improvements. We will fund infrastructure improvements and security solutions that help stores that are open. What we have to do is we have to get in front of these issues. We don't control the stores. These are private stores, but we have to understand what we as a city can do to help them from closing to begin with. So we've had many discussions over the years about what they refer to as shrinkage. I'll refer to it as shoplifting and theft. So we will invest $1 million toward their assistance to make sure we can get in front of these issues. Number 5, we will also look to the future by proposing a $700,000 investment to support the opening and expansion of small businesses offering healthy, fresh foods and cultural household essentials throughout Seattle neighborhoods. So let me talk a little bit more about that. You know, in our One Seattle Comprehensive Plan update, you know that we are, oh. He wants police? Oh, you got it. You're going to get a couple right now. All right, let me go back to this because this is a very important investment that I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. We want corner stores. In our comprehensive plan, we really loosened up the restriction to be able to have corner stores. Now what we're doing is we're putting $700,000 to the council to make sure that we are invest in the opening of these stores. So this will encourage and incentivize food access with a specific focus on food deserts. And this is very consistent with our comp plan. This is very consistent with the other programs we had in place, such as Seattle Restored or the Storefront Repair Fund. I want to again thank our Office of Economic Development for thinking outside the box and how we'd encourage food access through small grocery stores on our corners. 6, we're investing $4 million into a very place-based focus. Under our Chief Barnes and under Chief Barden, we look at places where there are an inordinate amount of issues, and a place-based focus would suggest that we have to double down in certain areas. And Lake City is one of those areas. And so we are investing $4 million into improving the public safety, promoting economic growth, and encouraging neighborhood renewal. So what does it look like? It looks like a coordinated cross-departmental public safety strategy, trash removal, spot pressure washing of sidewalks, improved lighting, police actions focused on those causing neighborhood harm, all designed to boost economic vitality. But I want to acknowledge the public safety challenges that we do have. Many of you know, I've heard me talk about the fact that when I took office, we lost almost 1/5 of our department, about 300 officers. But we have a great trajectory on the officers we're hired. This year alone, we should probably have between 100 and 150 new officers, so we have a good trajectory, but it has been very challenging. Which leads me to my next investment. What happens to the Fred Meyer, the shell of the store? I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Well, the first thing we were going to do is we're going to present legislation to our legislative body that bans property restrictions and non-compete clauses for grocery store and pharmacy leases. So what this means is when a grocery or pharmacy closes, sometimes they place restrictive covenants that block efforts to bring on a new store, a new pharmacy. So this legislation is designed to prohibit that. We understand that grocery and pharmacy stores are essential services for our neighborhood. They bring the vibrancy and the health to our neighborhood, so we must put an end to these restrictive covenants. We believe, in our administration, that this is good policy to put forward, and I look forward to the council's deliberations on this. Eighth, in Olympia in January, our state legislatures will go back to work. We will seek legislation to exempt groceries and pharmacies from Washington State's business and occupation tax, recognizing that these businesses operate with razor-thin margins and are vital for healthy and thriving communities. Now that may sound a little wonky to some. This is critical to making sure they succeed. This is holding them up to make sure that you have access to food, and this is a policy solution that we will advance. We will testify, we will write position papers, and this will be well received, we believe, by our state legislature. Before you hear from the speaker after me, I want to talk about sort of how we approach, from a conceptual standpoint, what we're trying to do. We try to think outside the box. This is a holistic approach. With Fred Meyer as an example, I'm never afraid to address the elephant in the room. What's going to happen to that building? Well, I don't want to build false hope. I see politicians doing that every day. I build real hope. I'm asking my team to look at, is it possible that we could have markets there all year long? Is that a possibility? Is it possible we could have the Pike Place Market show us their brilliance of bringing it out here to Lake City? Is it possible to build housing in that shell with a market? Rest assured, we are disruptors in how we run this city. We are trying to make this a beautiful place. When people say they live in Lake City, they will say it with pride, and they'll know that they have an administration and a team holding them up. So what we wanted to do today is talk about the very specific things we're going to do. This will be done. But what will also be done is to continue outside the box thinking with you. And that's why we chose this farmer's market as a proper place to talk about visioning. Because this always, you never see anyone mad in a market. Well, maybe you do every now and then, but a market is where people smile and shake hands. So we're excited about this holistic package to bring to Lake City. But I need to impress upon those that live here that we are in it with you. We are here for you. And you're going to hear from some folks that could say a little bit more about what they're doing and how our plan sort of ties into the work we're doing together. So next you're going to hear from Jennifer Antos, the Executive Director from Seattle Neighborhood Farmers Markets. And I sort of pumped you up a little bit, Jennifer, so don't let them down with what you're going to say. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll try to make this as exciting as possible. Thank you, Mayor Harrell. Welcome to the Lake City Farmers Market. It is so great to see the familiar faces from our community here. My name is Jennifer Antos. I'm the Executive Director for the Neighborhood Farmers Markets. And I'm here today to share what this proposed investment that Mayor Harrell mentioned in the Lake City Farmers Market means for this community. Lake City is a growing, dynamic neighborhood, and since 2002, this farmers market has been one of its most important gathering spaces for the community. People come here for fresh food. Our local farmers and producers bring harvests from across Washington State. But right now, the market only runs for 18 weeks during the summer, and it runs on Thursday evenings, which means a lot of working families, people with school-aged children, folks can't make it. And it also means that just as the summer days start to get shorter, access to fresh food drops off for the season. With support from the city, we have an opportunity to change that. This investment would extend the Lake City Farmers Market by 15 additional weeks into December. And in the future, ideally, it will also shift the market to a Saturday so that more people and residents in the community and more producers who are producing year-round can take advantage of this space. It strengthens the sole income and viability of our local producers so that they can continue to produce that food for all of us, for everyone's benefit. And we know the demand is there. Our farmers are ready to bring more food into areas of this city, including Lake City, but the supply only grows when we invest in it. So through public support, through people's choice to come shop at the farmers market, and through a shared recognition that a community can feed itself, we will get there. This also advances equity. Mayor Harrell mentioned that compared to some of the markets that we organize in more affluent neighborhoods, the purchases in this market made using SNAP and FreshBucks can be double what they are in other neighborhoods, which means that low-income families, seniors, and immigrant communities are asking and seeking for fresh, high-quality food from Washington State. And we want to make sure that local food is within everybody's reach. Expanding the market means just that. It also means more support for community partners, food banks, meal programs through donations and relationships through this farmers market. It also means continued energy in this space that is so central to the Lake City neighborhood, connecting the library, Albert Davis Park, and the future site of the community center, born anew. So it isn't just about extending the market season, it's about investing in our food security, in justice, in our regional producers, and in the health of the Lake City neighborhood. So I'm grateful to you, Mayor Harrell, for recognizing that opportunity, and look forward to working with city and the whole community to make that a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. You did not disappoint. The next speaker is César García. Many of you know him as the co-director of the Lake City Collective, a champion for community and engagement and investment in Lake City, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed working with César over the years. César, please share some words with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is César García, and it feels so different to be in my own community speaking in front of you. It really does. I've been in other places, other parts of the city, and it just feels good, like Lake City, please raise your hand if you live in this area. Yeah, to all my fellow, residents, staff, businesses, we know that Lake City is a strong community. We know that. And we are a resilient community. So when we get in the news that, this one major store is going to close, we are ready. We are ready. And we have been building capacity over the years. And this market is one example. I want to give a shout out to Pat and Nancy, who are over there. They are, many of you know them, but they are, they volunteer their time with many organizations in the area, and Lake City Collective is one of them. And they provide so much for our kids that I can go on and on. So much appreciation for them. I'm gonna share with you what we have been doing thanks through our partnership with the City of Seattle, with the mayor's office. And I see here a lot of people, that I like to call friends, because all the time that we have spent together. And before I forget, you may know that the City of Seattle won an award this year, which is the All America City Award. And you need to know that Lake City was represented in Denver, and I have one of my fellow teammates, and I'm gonna be I've been asking for a big sign entering Lake City 145th, coming into Little Brook, with the All-American City Award. I would like to see that on a poll. Our organization works mostly in the north end of Lake City. You won't see me here a lot. And the way that we have been building resilience is through programs, like I'm gonna tell you each one. FreshBox, we have enrolled close to 1,000 households in that program. And a lot of the feedback that you hear about, increasing the benefits comes from this relationship with the community and with all those families who were asking for that. All these families, they are not asking for more, they're asking for more options. We just recently started our pilot program where we had also our own market, because even though this big store that is closing across the street is it's a big loss, you will see that not a lot of all our communities or the communities that look like me, we couldn't find all the products that we will eat, like culturally products. So that's why we are doing our own market, our own effort. And I'm gonna say it really quick. So we have been a part of the Environmental Justice Fund. The Environmental Justice Fund also provided seed money for our own community garden. We have been not only partner to the FreshBox program, but also we were lucky to be an awardee of the Food Equity Fund. Through the Food Equity Fund, we not only increase the size of our community garden, we have more produce, but also we brought back the community kitchens that we started in this part of the neighborhood in 2020. And also we have been supporting, we had a cohort of businesses, foodpreneurship businesses, and also thanks to our partnership with the Office of Economic Development, we have been supporting businesses, many of them restaurants, and one of the programs is Back to Business program, and so we have been supporting businesses not only here in Lake City, but also in the whole city. I wanted to finish by saying that all this work hasn't been possible, would not be possible without a lot of the people, many of them that you see here today, that are behind the camera. Like really, and many more community members who cannot be here. So I just want to thank the city, I want to thank everybody, and I want to say that Lake City is a strong community, and this is a new era for Lake City. Thank you.
Thank you, César. Thank you, César. So our last speaker, then I'll close this up, is Melissa Knox, an associate teaching professor of the Department of Economics at the University of Washington, and she was part of a study evaluating the FreshBox program. And Melissa, we'd love for you to share a few words.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Melissa Knox, and yes, our team did a study, or is working on a study analyzing the impacts of the FreshBox program, and our findings are pretty compelling. So to start off, we surveyed around 2,000 households in Seattle. Some of these folks had FreshBox, and then some were just on the wait list. But behind those numbers, those were real people, all of whom had to make trade-offs when they went to the grocery store. Some people were, parents with young kids at home. Some people were older adults living on their own, and nearly everyone in the study was living with an income that was well below the living wage for Seattle. So let me tell you about what we found. First of all, so for families who are newly enrolled in FreshBox, their ability to put enough food on the table, what we call food security, increased by more than 30%. We also saw that individuals with FreshBox were over 30% more likely to report eating fruits and vegetables once they got the program. And even better, these gains were sustained and held up for people who were on the program for more than 1 year. But we also identified some challenges. When people left the program, those gains disappeared quickly. So the progress faded, and people were back to eating fewer fruits and vegetables, and they were back to worrying about how they were going to put food on the table. So the message from our research was pretty clear. FreshBox does work. It improves diet, it improves food security, it improves economic security, and it gives people peace of mind. But for that impact to last, what we found was that people do need to be able to have access to a consistent, sustained benefit. Even then, we think there's more that could be done. Even with FreshBucks, only about 30% of the individuals we surveyed said they were food secure. Most were eating fruits and vegetables around 3 times per day, which is good, but still not quite what we would say is enough for a healthy diet. So larger benefits could change that. And especially given rising grocery prices, the increase in benefits, I think, will be even more important than ever. But at the end of the day, our study, our numbers told a pretty simple story. When Seattle invests in programs like FreshBucks, they make it possible for individuals and families to worry less about where their next meal is coming from, and they can focus more on living a healthier life. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. So I'll close this up by saying this, and then we'll be more than happy to entertain any questions. We have to acknowledge Lake City's had some challenges. As someone that used to play in the streets of Lake City as a kid, who would come here for different ball games, who have friends over here, Lake City's not unlike many other cities or areas in the country. The fentanyl crisis, the opioid crisis, the ravages of COVID in terms of economic development has affected all of us. But I have to impress upon you that you have a city behind you that recognizes these challenges and are putting forth real investments, a real strategy, not pie in the sky, looking across the country on what works and what does not work. And that's what this investment strategy will have, and I look forward to the council's deliberation on these issues and the policy solutions in Olympia where we will work with our legislators to make sure we get the kind of relief that Lake City deserves. And with that, I'd be more than happy to take any questions. And I will wait. Yes, I'm going to take some. Usually I'm supposed to take press questions, but I'm in a good mood today, so I'm just going to go for it. Go ahead, please. It's you. Go ahead. No, that's okay. You're standing next to Ann, so you're okay with me.
Well, the two questions related to Fred Meyer. One, I understand it's going to close down in the middle of October. That's coming up really quick, and I'm just imagining that whole area just being abandoned. And what kind of security is going to be available? That would be one. The other one is, are there any communications with Fred Meyer in the city that you would be able to share with us, concerning some of the ideas?
I'll repeat the question so you can hear. The first one is, given the fact that they announced they may vacate the property in October, what safety precautions are will be in place to make sure it doesn't become a very a blighted area or an unsafe area? And that's exactly what we're doing. So our chief, we have actually command staff here. We have the chief of police reports to Chief Public Safety Natalie Walton-Anderson right here. And so they are on top of the issue. They'll make sure that they have the right patrols and part of this investment strategy was simply that, making sure we could keep it safe and make sure we are sheltering people. And that's why our recruiting strategy has become so important for us to make sure it's safe. So we understand it may be vulnerable, and we'll make sure that we throw the right forces behind it, not just police, but our care department as well. That's why the care department, of course, is an unarmed response to people that may be in crisis. So we'll make sure we have a holistic approach as well. We also have our Deputy Mayor of Homelessness here. That's not her title, but she's in charge of the homelessness strategy. So we'll make sure the area is clean and safe to the best of our ability. Now let me talk to you about the second part of your question. I have had discussions with the people running Fred Meyer. And what I've said to them, quite frankly, and these are ongoing discussions, is can we think out the box collaboratively? People need food here. They need access to their medications. What does moving forward look like? And we don't have a plan yet. The discussions are ongoing, and that's why I use the term false hope. I don't want to build you false hope. I have to look at what they're willing to do, and we're having those discussions. I have to look at if they own the building, and if they sell it. That's why the restrictive covenants piece is critical. What can it look like after? And I'm just a firm believer. I always look up and say I'm a firm believer that when one door shuts, a greater door should open. That's what this is designed to do. I do not want to see my enemy. My enemy is plywood, desolation, crime, those kinds of elements in a building or in an area. So we're going to do everything through this strategy. This is a $50 million strategy designed toward this. And that's why again, anticipating some of this, looking at the trends in the country, that's why in our proposed comp plan, it didn't get a lot of attention while we opened up the possibilities to corner stores on every corner. And that's why we put $700,000 here to incentivize them. My mother and grandparents owned small stores. It's very near and dear to me, and I think that will be the most important thing for the vibrancy as well. So, more to come on the Fred Meyer situation. We're on it. My team's aware of our discussions, and you'll be hearing from us next several weeks, but we're going to push this package through for your protection. Yes. Yes.
You mentioned that your proposal includes about $1 million earmarked towards addressing theft and infrastructure improvements at grocery stores. Can you talk about the partners or the city agencies that would be involved in those measures? Would that include partnerships with SPD?
Yeah, let me repeat the question so those could hear, which is a press question. I said that we're investing $1 million toward addressing theft and shoplifting and property damage at stores, and I think that's the reference you're referring to. Funding infrastructure improvements and security locations that will help stores that will stay open. So what this looks like is environmental design, CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. So we look at the area. We get the experts to tell us what looks good. Should we cut this hedge? Should we build this fence? We work with the community on sort of what they believe is occurring, because some blighted areas, they're not all the same. So that $1 million gives us a fund to be able to figure out what solutions make sense. And there are experts in this area, and we will use those experts. Thank you. Yes?
I'm hearing a lot about community here. And it looks like this is a big portion that represents the community here. I've lived my life on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to community. And there's a divide here. Obviously, there's crime, there's drug use, there's homelessness, and then there's another side, right? But they're almost work in tandem to keep each side the same. I'm wondering if there's anything being done to desegregate. The homeless that are out here, they're left to their own, not only their own, economical status, but their culture is based on all they have, and they feel like the other side sees them either as the enemy or doesn't see them at all. And when that happens, they're left to their devices, they're left to their way of getting things done, and they feel like the rest of the world around them isn't acknowledging them as people. They're not going to have the sympathy or empathy or anything else to do anything to help you guys, because they feel like they're not being helped. I'm just saying, I just hear community a lot, and community means everyone in the area working together, right? I think it would be very helpful if there was some type of extension of hand, of acknowledgement, of just saying, hey, can we talk? Can we rub shoulders for a second? So to really show you that we do really care, we really are acknowledging you guys, we really do want to consider what you're going through, we really want to know who you are, versus seeing you as a statistical number in the crime epidemic or the drug epidemic. We're all people here, so that's all. I just kind of.
Thank you. So let me address that. My name is Bruce. May I call you by name, sir? Eric. So Eric, first of all, I see you. I hear you. I think your words are very truthful. And so what I've tried to impress upon you as someone who was born in this city, when I go to many people who are unsheltered, I don't see strangers. I see people literally that I grew up with. So I walked inside this tent village, maybe 4 weeks ago. Shook hands, stayed there for a while to understand their stories. And so I'm calling upon all Lake City residents to see everyone, whether you're sheltered or unsheltered, as human beings worthy of love and worthy of compassion. And the only question we could ask ourselves is, how can we help them? There, but for the grace of God, go I. And so on our administration, Eric, we hope to, number one, get you shelter, get you food, get you health care. And that's why I opened up my remarks by talking about what our president is doing to cut these types of vital pieces toward being healthy. We also, it should be noted that this is next to a library. My mother worked at a library most of her career. That when it gets hot, we have a cooling center to cool people down. And so I use that as one example of many, is that the city, it is our goal, and I have many executives here, our goal to make sure people like Eric are loved and cared for, and our strategies, our investment strategies, our policies have to recognize them as human beings. And where we fall short, Eric, we ask for some grace because our hearts are in the right places. We could only hope that our actions and our investments match our hearts. So thank you for your words. And I think this program gets at the heart of your point, that everybody is worthy to succeed. And we have to recognize that that is part of the human experience. I'm going to close down questions unless the press has one. And I'm going to count us down from 3, 2, 1. Seattle, everybody. Let's do it. Thank you very much.